Hey, curious minds, get ready for mind-blowing facts about animals, science, and more. From surprising talents to bizarre discoveries, this video is packed with fun you won't believe. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the unexpected.
Pikachu's name originates from the Japanese onomatopoeic words pika, pika, and chu, chiyu, which perfectly capture the essence of the beloved Pokémon. The word pika refers to a sparkling or crackling sound often associated with electricity, like the static crackle of lightning. Meanwhile, chu mimics the high-pitched squeak of a mouse. Together, these sounds create a name that not only represents Pikachu's signature electric abilities, but also reflects its small, mouse-like appearance. The choice of Pika aligns with Pikachu's status as an electric-type Pokémon, reinforcing its power to generate and discharge electricity in battle. The crackling sound evokes the imagery of flashing lightning bolts and the zapping energy Pikachu unleashes with its signature moves like Thunderbolt. On the other hand, Chu complements its rodent-like design, resembling the squeaky noises real mice make. This clever combination makes Pikachu's name both descriptive and endearing, contributing to its widespread recognition. Beyond the linguistic appeal, Pikachu's name plays a crucial role in branding and cultural impact. It is easy to pronounce, catchy and instantly memorable, which has helped Pikachu become one of the most recognizable Pokémon worldwide. The name embodies the character's charm and energy, making it appealing to both children and adults. Over the years, the simple yet effective wordplay behind Pikachu's name has reinforced its status as the face of the Pokémon franchise, proving that even a name can hold the power of sparking joy.
While James Bond is often associated with the famous phrase, shaken, not stirred, in reference to his vodka martini, his true favourite drink is actually champagne. Throughout Ian Fleming's original novels and the James Bond film franchise, Bond is frequently seen enjoying champagne far more often than martinis. In fact, he drinks champagne in nearly every one of his adventures, making it his most consumed alcoholic beverage. Ian Fleming's novels provide clear evidence of Bond's preference. The secret agent often orders champagne with meals, particularly when dining with a romantic partner. Brands like Dom Perignon, Bollinger and Taittinger are among his go-to choices, reflecting his refined taste and appreciation for luxury. This aligns with his character, a sophisticated and cultured spy who values the finer things in life. In contrast, while he does drink martinis, they are often ordered as a quick, strong drink rather than a preferred indulgence. The Bond films reinforce this preference, as champagne frequently appears in key scenes, often accompanying a seduction or celebration. One of the most notable champagne moments comes in Goldfinger, where Sean Connery's Bond critiques a bottle of Dom Perignon, stating that drinking it at the wrong temperature is as bad as listening to the Beatles without earmuffs. Later, in Roger Moore's era, Bollinger became the official Bond champagne, a tradition that continued in subsequent films, including those starring Daniel Craig. Bond's love for champagne highlights his elegance and appreciation for quality, while the vodka martini remains his most famous drink. Due to its association with his cool and calculated demeanour, champagne better represents his overall lifestyle, one of class, charm and indulgence.
The iconic Hollywood sign, now a global symbol of the entertainment industry, originally read Hollywoodland when it was first erected in 1923. Unlike today, when it represents the glitz and glamour of the film world, the sign was initially an advertisement for a real estate development in the Hollywood Hills. The Los Angeles Times publisher Harry Chandler was among the investors behind the project, which aimed to promote an upscale housing community. The massive letters, each standing about 50 feet tall, were built using wood and sheet metal and were illuminated with thousands of light bulbs to attract attention. The original Hollywoodland sign was never meant to be permanent. It was constructed as a temporary structure, expected to last only about a year and a half. However, as Hollywood became the heart of the burgeoning film industry, the sign took on a new meaning, evolving into a symbol of the entertainment capital of the world. By the late 1940s, the sign had fallen into disrepair, and the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce decided to remove the last four letters, shortening it to Hollywood and transforming it into a lasting emblem of the film industry. Over the years, the Hollywood sign has undergone multiple restorations to maintain its iconic status. In 1978, a major restoration project funded in part by celebrities like Hugh Hefner and Alice Cooper, replaced the old, deteriorating letters with a more durable steel version. Today, the sign is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, drawing millions of tourists and symbolizing the dreams and aspirations of countless actors, filmmakers, and creatives who come to Hollywood in search of success. Though its origins lie in real estate, the Hollywood sign has transcended its original purpose, becoming an enduring icon of cinema and stardom.
Movie trailers, now a staple of the cinematic experience, were originally shown after a film, not before. The first ever movie trailer is believed to have been shown in 1913 by the Marcus Loew Theatres, promoting an upcoming Broadway musical called The Pleasure Seekers. Instead of appearing before the main feature as they do today, it played at the end of the movie, hence the name trailer, since it trailed the film. The concept quickly caught on and studios began producing their own trailers to promote upcoming films. However, exhibitors soon realized that playing trailers after a movie wasn't very effective. Many audiences simply left the theater once the main feature ended. By the late 1910s and early 1920s, theaters started showing trailers before the movie to ensure maximum audience engagement. This shift led to the modern format, where trailers are shown before the film begins, building anticipation and excitement. Over time, trailers evolved from simple, text-heavy advertisements into sophisticated mini-movies carefully crafted to entice audiences. The 1960s and 70s saw the rise of creative and dramatic trailer editing, pioneered by figures like Stanley Kubrick and Alfred Hitchcock, while the 1990s and 2000s ushered in fast-paced, high-energy cuts with booming voiceovers and orchestral music. Today, trailers are an essential marketing tool, generating massive online buzz and even premiering as major events before blockbusters. Despite their changed placement, the name trailer remains a quirky linguistic remnant from the early days of cinema. What started as a simple afterthought has become a powerful force in movie promotion, shaping audience expectations and influencing box office success worldwide.
The M in M&Ms stands for Mars and Murrie, the two businessmen behind the creation of the famous candy. Forrest Mars Sr., the son of the founder of Mars Inc., and Bruce Murrie, the son of Hershey's president William Murrie, partnered in the early 1940s to develop a new kind of candy-coated chocolate. Their goal was to create a product that wouldn't melt easily, making it ideal for soldiers during World War II. Forrest Mars had the idea after seeing soldiers in Spain eating British-made Smarties, which had a similar sugar shell that prevented chocolate from melting in warm conditions. Recognizing the potential, he returned to the United States and approached Bruce Murrie for a partnership. Since Hershey's had a stronghold on the American chocolate supply and controlled much of the country's cocoa, Murrie's involvement ensured that Mars could secure the necessary ingredients for mass production. In 1941, the first batch of M&Ms was produced in a factory in Newark, New Jersey. The candies were initially sold exclusively to the US military, where they became an instant hit with soldiers. After the war, they were introduced to the public and quickly grew in popularity. The distinctive M imprint was added in 1950 to differentiate M&Ms from imitators, and the brand continued to expand with new colours, flavours and varieties. Today, M&Ms are one of the best-selling candies in the world. Available in over 100 countries, while few people may realise it, the name M&Ms is a lasting tribute to the collaboration between Mars and Murrie, a partnership that led to one of the most iconic and beloved confections in history. Monopoly, one of the world's most famous board games, was originally designed not to celebrate capitalism, but to criticize it. The game was first created in 1903 by Elizabeth McGee, a writer and game designer who wanted to illustrate the dangers of monopolies and unchecked capitalism. She called her invention the landlord's game, and it featured two sets of rules, one that rewarded wealth accumulation, much like the modern monopoly, and another that promoted wealth sharing, meant to highlight the benefits of a more egalitarian economic system. Maggie was inspired by the ideas of economist Henry George, who argued that monopolies on land ownership led to wealth inequality and economic oppression. Her game demonstrated how landlords could exploit tenants, gradually driving other players into poverty while one person amassed all the wealth. By playing, participants would experience firsthand how monopolies crushed competition and concentrated power into the hands of a few. She hoped the game would educate people and push them toward anti-monopolist reforms. However, Maggie's vision was largely lost when the game was later adapted and commercialized. In the 1930s, a man named Charles Darrow took a version of the Landlord's game, modified it, and sold it to Parker Brothers as his own invention. The company eventually bought the rights from Maggie for just $500, but marketed Monopoly as a celebration of wealth and business success rather than a warning against corporate greed. Ironically, Monopoly became a worldwide hit, embraced as a game where players compete to bankrupt each other rather than learn about the perils of economic inequality. Over the years, it has become a symbol of capitalism itself, complete with real estate speculation, ruthless competition, and financial dominance. Though its original purpose was lost in the mainstream, Monopoly remains a fascinating example of how an educational tool about economic injustice was transformed into one of the most popular board games in history.
Before becoming the tech giant we know today, Google was originally called Backrub when it was first developed in 1996. The name came from the search engine's unique ability to analyze backlinks, the links between web pages, to determine their importance and relevance in search results. Created by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, two PhD students at Stanford University, Backrub was designed to rank web pages based on how many other pages linked to them, a method that set it apart from traditional search engines of the time. Backrub operated on Stanford's servers, but as it grew, it consumed too much bandwidth, forcing Page and Brin to find a more scalable solution. By 1997, they decided to rename their project. The new name, Google, was a play on the mathematical term Google, which represents the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. This name reflected their ambitious goal of organizing vast amounts of information on the internet. With the new name and a powerful algorithm, Google quickly outperformed existing search engines like AltaVista and Yahoo. In 1998, Page and Brin officially launched Google Inc., and within a few years, it became the dominant search engine worldwide. Though Backrub was short-lived, its core principle, ranking websites based on links, became the foundation of Google's revolutionary PageRank algorithm, which remains a crucial part of search engine optimization, or SEO, today. While the name Backrub might have sounded odd for a tech company, it highlights Google's origins as a research project focused on understanding the web's structure. Thankfully, the switch to Google helped cement its identity as a global powerhouse in internet search, shaping the digital world as we know it.
One of the most intriguing mysteries surrounding Walt Disney is that his last written words were reportedly Kurt Russell. Before his death in 1966, Disney was battling lung cancer and spending much of his time in the hospital. During his final days, he wrote down a few notes on a piece of paper, and among them were the words Kurt Russell. At the time, Russell was a young actor who had just signed a long-term contract with the Walt Disney Company, though he had yet to become a household name. The meaning behind these final words remains unclear, as Disney never had the chance to explain them. Some speculate that Disney saw great potential in the young actor and was planning major roles for him in future films. Others believe it was simply a reminder for an upcoming project or contract discussion. Regardless of the reason, it remains a fascinating and somewhat eerie detail of Disney's final moments. Kurt Russell himself has acknowledged the story in interviews, confirming that Disney executives found the note after Walt's passing. He has expressed both surprise and honor at the idea that he was among Disney's last thoughts. Following Disney's death, Russell went on to become one of the company's most successful live-action stars, appearing in films like The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes in 1969 and The Strongest Man in the World in 1975. His career later expanded into major Hollywood roles, solidifying him as a versatile and enduring actor. Though the true meaning behind Walt Disney's last written words may never be fully understood, it adds an air of mystery to his legacy. Whether he was simply jotting down a name or envisioning the future of Disney's films, the note has become a legendary piece of Hollywood trivia, linking the visionary creator to one of his rising stars in an unforgettable way. The iconic character of Darth Vader in Star Wars was brought to life by two actors, David Prowse, who provided the physical presence, and James Earl Jones, who gave the Sith Lord his deep, menacing voice. This unique combination helped create one of the most memorable villains in cinematic history. David Prowse, a British bodybuilder and actor, was cast by George Lucas in 1976 to portray Darth Vader on screen. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches, Prowse had the imposing stature needed to make the character physically intimidating. However, while filming Star Wars: A New Hope, in 1977, Prowse delivered all of Vader's lines in his natural West Country English accent, which some on set found unsuitable for the villainous role. The crew even nicknamed him Darth Farmer due to his softer-sounding voice. Unbeknownst to Prowse at the time, Lucas had always planned to dub over his voice in post-production. He chose James Earl Jones, an American actor with a deep, commanding voice, to bring Vader's dialogue to life. Jones's powerful delivery gave Vader his chilling and authoritative presence, making lines like "I find your lack of faith disturbing" instantly legendary. Despite his significant contribution, Jones initially went uncredited in A New Hope, believing his role was minor compared to Prowse's physical performance. This dual performance led to some behind-the-scenes controversy. Prowse was reportedly frustrated that he was never informed about being replaced as Vader's voice, and felt sidelined by Lucasfilm over the years, while Jones later fully embraced his role, reprising Vader's voice in multiple Star Wars projects. Together, Prowse's commanding physique and Jones's booming voice created one of the most feared and iconic villains in film history.
Michael Jordan is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but his financial success off the court has been even more staggering. While he earned a significant amount during his NBA career, Jordan has made far more money from his Nike endorsements, particularly through his legendary Air Jordan sneaker line. During his 15 seasons in the NBA, Jordan's total salary amounted to around $90 million, with the majority of his earnings coming in his final 2 seasons with the Chicago Bulls. However, his partnership with Nike, which began in 1984, has generated billions. Initially, Nike was not the dominant sportswear brand it is today, but Jordan's signing changed everything. His first deal with Nike was worth $500,000 per year, plus royalties, a bold move at the time for a rookie. The Air Jordan brand exploded in popularity, redefining the sneaker industry and turning Jordan into a global icon. Over the decades, the Jordan brand evolved into its own division within Nike, with MJ receiving a percentage of every sale. Reports estimate that Jordan earns around $150 to $200 million per year from Nike royalties alone, far more than he ever made as a player. To date, his total earnings from Nike exceed $1.5 billion. This massive financial success has helped Jordan become the first billionaire athlete with investments in sports franchises, including ownership of the Charlotte Hornets, which he later sold for a significant profit. His Nike deal is considered one of the most successful athlete-brand partnerships in history, proving that Jordan's legacy extends far beyond basketball.
The longest recorded case of hiccups lasted an astonishing 68 years. This unusual and unfortunate record belongs to Charles Osborne, an American man who began hiccuping in 1922 and continued without relief until 1990. Osborne's hiccups reportedly began after a fall while weighing a hog on his farm in Iowa. Doctors speculated that the accident may have damaged a part of his brain that controls the diaphragm, leading to the uncontrollable spasms that define hiccups. Despite his condition, Osborne managed to live a relatively normal life, getting married and having children. During the first few decades of his condition, Osborne experienced hiccups at an estimated rate of 40 times per minute. Over the years, this rate slowed to about 20 hiccups per minute, but they never completely ceased until a year before his death in 1991. It is estimated that over his lifetime, he hiccuped more than 430 million times. Medical professionals attempted various treatments, but none were successful in curing his persistent hiccups. Osborne's case remains one of the most baffling medical mysteries related to the involuntary diaphragm contractions known as hiccups. While most cases of hiccups resolve on their own, or with simple remedies, Osborne's condition highlights the rare instances where they can persist for an extended period. His story has been recognized in the Guinness World Records, and continues to be cited as an example of the extraordinary endurance of the human body in the face of a seemingly minor yet persistent ailment.
Bubble wrap, now widely recognized as a protective packaging material, was originally invented as wallpaper. In 1957, engineers Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavans set out to create a unique, textured wallpaper by sealing two shower curtains together, trapping air bubbles between them. Their idea was to develop a wall covering that had a modern, padded look, appealing to the growing trend of futuristic interior design during that time. However, their invention did not catch on as wallpaper, as it was not particularly practical or aesthetically pleasing for home decor. Realizing that their product was not suitable for its original purpose, Fielding and Chavan explored alternative uses. It wasn't until 1960 that they founded Sealed Air Corporation and discovered bubble wrap's true potential as a protective packaging material. Around the same time, IBM had just launched its 1401 computer, and the company needed a way to safely ship its delicate electronic components. Bubble wrap turned out to be the perfect solution, providing cushioning and protection during transportation. Since then, bubble wrap has become one of the most widely used packaging materials in the world. Beyond its practical applications, it has also gained popularity for its stress-relieving properties, as many people enjoy the simple pleasure of popping the bubbles. The accidental reinvention of bubble wrap serves as an example of how innovation sometimes takes an unexpected path, proving that even failed ideas can lead to groundbreaking success.
The longest-lasting light bulb in the world, known as the Centennial light, has been burning since 1901. Located in Fire Station number 6 in Livermore, California, this incredible bulb has been glowing for over a century, earning it a place in the Guinness World Records. The bulb was manufactured by the Shelby Electric Company and is a hand-blown carbon filament bulb designed in the late 19th century. It originally provided 30 to 60 watts of light, but over time its brightness has dimmed to about 4 watts. The bulb was first installed in a fire department hose cart in 1901, before being moved to different locations within the fire station. Despite occasional power outages and building renovations, it has remained operational, with only brief interruptions when it was relocated. Scientists and engineers have studied the bulb, but there is no definitive explanation for its extraordinary longevity. Some theories suggest that its low wattage, durable filament, and continuous operation, reducing the wear from on and off cycles, contribute to its incredible lifespan. The Centennial light has gained worldwide attention, with visitors travelling to Livermore to see it in person. A dedicated webcam also streams live footage of the bulb for those who can't visit. This remarkable light bulb has become a symbol of durability and a curiosity in discussions about planned obsolescence, as modern light bulbs typically last only a few thousand hours before burning out. The Centennial light stands as a testament to early engineering, and continues to glow as one of the world's most fascinating technological anomalies.
In the Bahamas, there is a unique island made almost entirely of discarded conch shells, known as Conch Island or Shell Island. Located near the island of Anegada and several Bahamian settlements, this artificial landmass was created over decades by local fishermen who discarded empty conch shells after harvesting the meat inside. The conch, a large sea snail, is a staple of Bahamian cuisine and is used in popular dishes like conch salad, conch fritters, and cracked conch. As a result, the accumulation of shells grew so large that it formed an entire island. The island is a testament to the deep cultural and economic significance of conch in the Bahamas. For generations, fishermen have thrown their empty shells into the same area, slowly building up a landscape of pink and white shells. Over time, the shells compacted, creating a solid structure that continues to expand as more shells are added. The island serves as both a historical marker of Bahamian fishing traditions and an unusual tourist attraction. While Conch Island is a fascinating example of human-made landforms, it also raises environmental concerns. The queen conch population has been declining due to overfishing, leading to strict conservation efforts in the Bahamas and surrounding Caribbean nations. Regulations now limit conch harvesting to ensure the species does not become endangered. Despite these challenges, the island remains an extraordinary sight, showcasing how human activity, intended or unintended, can shape the landscape in unexpected ways.
The first webcam in history was invented to monitor a coffee pot. In 1991, a team of researchers at the University of Cambridge in England set up a small black and white camera to keep an eye on a coffee machine located in the Trojan room of their computer lab. The researchers, frustrated by frequent trips to the coffee pot only to find it empty, devised a simple but ingenious solution. They rigged up a camera that transmitted live images of the pot to their computer screens. This allowed them to check if there was coffee available before making the trip. The camera captured a low-resolution grayscale image of the coffee pot at a rate of about 3 frames per minute. Initially, the webcam was only accessible to the local network within the university, but in 1993, when the internet became more widely available, the live feed was connected to the World Wide Web. This made it the first publicly accessible webcam, drawing attention from curious viewers around the world who tuned in just to check on the coffee supply. The Trojan Room coffee pot became an internet sensation and remained online until 2001 when the camera was finally turned off. The original coffee pot itself was later auctioned off on eBay for over $4,000. This quirky invention was a precursor to the webcams we use today for video calls, security monitoring, and live streaming. What started as a simple office convenience ultimately played a role in shaping the way we interact with technology, proving that necessity, or in this case, caffeine cravings, can drive unexpected innovation.
John Walker, an English chemist, is credited with inventing the modern matchstick in 1826. While experimenting with chemicals in his laboratory in Stockton-on-Tees, Walker accidentally discovered that a mixture of potassium chlorate, antimony sulfide, and other compounds could ignite when scraped against a rough surface. Realizing the practical potential of his discovery, he began selling the first friction matches, which he called friction lights. These early matches consisted of wooden splints coated with the chemical mixture and were ignited by striking them against sandpaper. Despite his groundbreaking invention, Walker never patented his matches. He believed that such an important discovery should be freely available for the benefit of society, rather than monopolized for personal profit. As a result, others quickly capitalized on his idea. In 1829, a London chemist named Samuel Jones began manufacturing and selling a similar product under the name Lucifers, which gained widespread popularity. Over time, improvements were made to the design, leading to safer and more efficient matches. Walker's decision not to patent his invention meant he never gained financial success from his work. However, his contribution to everyday life was invaluable as matches became an essential tool for lighting fires, candles, and lamps. Today, he is remembered as a selfless innovator whose discovery revolutionized firemaking. His story serves as an example of an inventor prioritizing public good over personal gain, allowing matches to become a widely accessible and indispensable tool around the world.
Yes, there is a city named Earth in Texas, making it one of the most uniquely named places in the United States. Located in Lamb County in the northwestern part of the state, Earth is a small rural town with a population of a few hundred people. Originally, the community was known as Fairlawn, but when residents applied for a post office in the 1920s, they discovered that the name was already taken. After much discussion, they settled on the name Earth, making it the only town in the world with this exact name. The post office officially adopted the name in 1924. Earth, Texas, is primarily an agricultural community, with farming and cattle ranching playing a significant role in its local economy. The area is known for producing cotton, sorghum, and other crops typical of the Texas Panhandle region. Like many small towns in rural America, Earth has experienced population decline over the years due to urbanization and economic shifts. However, it remains a proud and tight-knit community. Despite its small size, Earth has gained some fame because of its unusual name. The town has been featured in trivia books, news stories, and travel blogs as one of the quirkiest place names in the US. Visitors sometimes stop by just to take a photo with the city's sign, which reads, "Welcome to Earth." The name itself evokes curiosity and amusement, making it a fun conversation starter for those who come across it.
The Eiffel Tower, one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, was almost temporarily moved to Canada in the 1960s. This surprising idea came about as part of Montreal's preparations for Expo 67, a World's Fair held in Canada to celebrate the country's centennial. Organisers of the event wanted a major attraction to draw international visitors, and they considered relocating the Eiffel Tower from Paris to Montreal for the duration of the exposition. The proposal, however, was never realised. Moving a 330-metre or 1,083-foot iron structure across the Atlantic Ocean presented massive logistical and engineering challenges. The process of dismantling, transporting and reassembling the tower would have been extremely costly and time-consuming. Additionally, the French authorities and Parisians were reluctant to part with their beloved landmark, even temporarily. As a result, the idea was abandoned, and Expo 67 proceeded without the Eiffel Tower. Despite this, Expo 67 was still a massive success, attracting millions of visitors and becoming one of the most celebrated World's Fairs in history. Although the Eiffel Tower remained in Paris, Montreal built several impressive structures for the event, including Habitat 67, a striking modernist housing complex that remains a famous architectural landmark today. The proposal to move the Eiffel Tower may seem far-fetched, but it highlights the ambition and creativity behind Expo 67's planning, as well as the enduring global fascination with the Parisian monument.
In the Netherlands, a country known for its innovative urban planning and environmental consciousness, some traffic lights have been specially designed for ducks. These unique traffic signals were introduced in cities with large populations of waterfowl to help ducks safely cross busy roads, particularly in areas near canals and ponds, which are common throughout the country. The idea behind duck-friendly traffic lights is to ensure that these birds, which frequently move between bodies of water, can cross roads without being harmed by passing vehicles. The lights function similarly to pedestrian crossings, but are activated when ducks approach. Some installations use motion sensors to detect the ducks, triggering a red light for drivers and allowing the ducks to waddle across safely. These duck crossings reflect the Netherlands' strong commitment to animal welfare and coexistence with nature. The country is well known for its cycling infrastructure, pedestrian-friendly urban design, and sustainable transport solutions. By implementing traffic lights for ducks, Dutch cities demonstrate a creative approach to protecting wildlife while maintaining smooth traffic flow. The initiative has been well received, highlighting the Dutch philosophy of designing urban spaces that accommodate both people and animals.
The oldest known door still in use is over 1,800 years old and is located in Rome, Italy. This ancient bronze door belongs to the Pantheon, one of the most well-preserved monuments of ancient Rome. The massive doors, standing about 7.5 meters tall, were originally installed around 115 AD during the reign of Emperor Hadrian. Made of solid bronze, they have survived nearly 2 millennia of history, including the fall of the Roman Empire, medieval transformations and modern restorations. Despite their age, these doors are still fully functional and serve as the main entrance to the Pantheon. Their durability can be attributed to the high-quality materials and expert craftsmanship of Roman engineers. Over the centuries, the doors have remained largely intact, though they have undergone some minor restorations. They continue to swing open to welcome visitors into the Pantheon, which now functions as a church and a historic site. The longevity of these doors is a testament to the engineering brilliance of ancient Rome. Unlike modern doors, which often deteriorate after a few decades, the Pantheon's bronze doors have endured for centuries without significant damage. They stand as a symbol of Rome's architectural legacy, attracting millions of tourists each year who marvel at their incredible history and craftsmanship.
Time travel into the future is not just a concept from science fiction, it is a real and measurable phenomenon, thanks to the effects of time dilation predicted by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. According to special relativity, time is not an absolute constant but instead slows down for objects moving at speeds close to the speed of light. Similarly, general relativity states that time slows down in stronger gravitational fields. These effects have been experimentally confirmed and are most prominently observed in astronauts aboard the International Space Station, ISS, who experience time at a slightly slower rate compared to people on Earth. Astronauts on the ISS are traveling at approximately 28,000 kilometers per hour, 17,500 miles per hour, relative to Earth. Due to their high velocity, they experience a small but measurable amount of time dilation, meaning that time for them moves slightly slower than it does for those on the planet's surface. When they return to Earth, they have aged a fraction of a second less than people who remained on the ground. Though this difference is minuscule, only a few milliseconds over a typical 6-month mission, it demonstrates that time travel into the future is possible, albeit on a very small scale. This effect becomes significantly more pronounced at much higher speeds, such as those approaching the speed of light. If a spacecraft were to travel at near light speeds, its passengers would experience time much more slowly than people on Earth. Upon returning, they could find that years, decades, or even centuries had passed on Earth, while only a short time had passed for them. This idea, known as the twin paradox, has been supported by experiments with highly precise atomic clocks placed on fast-moving aircraft and satellites, which consistently show time moving slower for the clocks in motion. While time travel into the future via time dilation is scientifically proven, practical applications remain limited. Our current technology does not allow us to reach speeds anywhere near those needed for significant time dilation effects. However, as space travel advances and scientists explore concepts such as near-light speed travel or even wormholes, the potential for meaningful time travel into the future may become more than just a theoretical possibility.
Calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body, playing a crucial role in numerous physiological processes. More than 99% of the body's calcium is stored in the bones and teeth, where it provides structural strength and rigidity. This calcium is primarily in the form of hydroxyapatite, a crystalline compound that gives bones and teeth their hardness. The remaining less than 1% of calcium is found in the blood muscles and other tissues, where it is essential for nerve function, muscle contraction, blood clotting, and enzyme activity. Bones act as a dynamic reservoir of calcium, constantly undergoing a process called bone remodeling. This involves bone resorption, where specialized cells called osteoclasts break down bone tissue to release calcium into the bloodstream when needed, and bone formation, where osteoblasts rebuild bone by depositing calcium. This balance is tightly regulated by hormones such as parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, and vitamin D, ensuring that blood calcium levels remain stable while maintaining bone strength. Teeth, unlike bones, do not undergo continuous remodeling once they have fully formed. The enamel, which is the hardest substance in the human body, is composed mostly of calcium phosphate and is not replenished once it is lost. This is why maintaining proper calcium intake and good oral hygiene is critical for preventing tooth decay and preserving dental health. Dietary calcium is essential to maintaining bone density and preventing conditions such as osteoporosis, a disease characterized by weakened bones that are more prone to fractures. Good sources of calcium include dairy products, leafy green vegetables, nuts, and fortified foods. Without adequate calcium intake, the body may withdraw calcium from bones to support other critical functions, leading to decreased bone mass over time. Overall, calcium's primary role in bones and teeth underscores its importance in overall health. While only a small percentage of the body's calcium circulates in the bloodstream, this fraction is vital for numerous bodily functions, making it essential to maintain proper dietary intake throughout life.
The genetic similarity between humans and other species provides valuable insight into evolution and the shared ancestry of life on Earth. Humans share approximately 98 to 99% of their DNA with chimpanzees, making them our closest living relatives. This high degree of genetic overlap is a result of humans and chimpanzees evolving from a common ancestor around 6 to 7 million years ago. Despite this similarity, the small percentage of genetic differences accounts for the major distinctions in anatomy, brain function, and behavior between the two species. The genetic differences between humans and chimpanzees are concentrated in key areas related to brain development, immune function, and speech. For example, genes associated with brain growth such as FOXP2, which is linked to language ability, show significant differences between the two species. Additionally, regulatory DNA, non-coding sections of the genome that control how genes are expressed, plays a major role in differentiating humans from chimpanzees, even though the overall genetic sequences are nearly identical. Surprisingly, humans also share about 60% of their DNA with chickens, and roughly 50% with bananas. This is because all living organisms share a common ancestor if we look far enough back in evolutionary history. The genetic similarity between humans and chickens reflects the fundamental biological processes that are conserved across species. Many genes related to basic cellular functions, metabolism, and development are nearly identical, as they are essential for survival and have remained largely unchanged over millions of years. The degree of genetic similarity does not necessarily indicate how similar two organisms appear or behave. For instance, while humans share 98% of their DNA with chimpanzees, the difference in how those genes are regulated leads to vast disparities in intelligence, physical traits, and social behaviors. Likewise, sharing 60% of DNA with chickens does not mean humans are 60% chicken-like. It simply means that certain core biological functions, such as energy production and cell division, are governed by the same genetic instructions. These genetic comparisons highlight the deep connections among all living beings, reinforcing the idea that life evolved from a common origin. Advances in genetics continue to uncover how small genetic changes contribute to the vast diversity of life on Earth, shedding light on human evolution and our place in the natural world.
A single bolt of lightning is an incredibly powerful natural phenomenon, capable of releasing an enormous amount of energy in just a fraction of a second. On average, a lightning bolt carries about 1 billion joules or 1 gigajoule of energy. That's enough to toast approximately 100,000 slices of bread if all of that energy could be efficiently harnessed. This impressive comparison helps put into perspective the sheer power contained in a single flash of lightning. Lightning occurs when electrical charges build up in storm clouds due to the movement of ice particles and water droplets. When the charge difference between the cloud and the ground, or between different parts of the cloud, becomes too great, a rapid discharge of electricity occurs, resulting in a lightning strike. This sudden release of energy heats the surrounding air to temperatures as high as 30,000 Kelvin, about 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, causing the characteristic bright flash and thunderous shockwave. Toasting a slice of bread requires roughly 1,000 joules of energy in a typical household toaster, meaning that the 1 billion joules in a lightning bolt could theoretically power 100,000 toasters at once. However, capturing and storing this energy is practically impossible due to the extremely brief and chaotic nature of a lightning strike. The energy is dispersed almost instantly in the form of heat, light, and sound, making it difficult to convert into usable electricity. Scientists have explored various methods for harnessing lightning energy, but the unpredictability of strikes and the challenge of safely capturing such an intense burst of power make it unfeasible with current technology. Despite this, studying lightning remains important for improving weather forecasting, protecting infrastructure from electrical surges, and understanding the fundamental physics of atmospheric electricity. Ultimately, while a lightning bolt contains enough energy to toast an astonishing number of slices of bread, the reality is that its power is largely untapped and remains one of nature's most dramatic displays of raw energy.
The human scalp contains an average of 100,000 hair follicles, though this number can vary depending on factors such as genetics, hair color, and age. Each follicle produces a single strand of hair, and together they form the thick covering of hair that protects the scalp from the sun and helps regulate body temperature. Hair density differs from person to person, with some individuals having as few as 80,000 hairs and others having up to 150,000. Lighter-haired individuals, particularly blondes, tend to have a higher number of hairs, while people with darker or red hair generally have fewer but thicker strands. Hair growth follows a three-phase cycle: the anagen, or growth phase, the catagen, or transition phase, and the telogen, or resting phase. At any given time, about 85 to 90% of a person's hair is in the anagen phase, which can last anywhere from 2 to 7 years. This phase determines how long hair can grow before it naturally falls out and is replaced. The catagen phase lasts only a few weeks, during which hair growth slows, and then the telogen phase occurs, where old hairs are shed and new ones begin to grow in their place. On average, a person loses 50 to 100 hairs per day as part of this natural shedding process. This is considered completely normal and is usually not noticeable, as new hair continuously replaces the lost strands. However, factors such as stress, hormonal changes, poor nutrition and medical conditions can lead to excessive hair loss, known as alopecia. In some cases, hair thinning or baldness can occur when hair follicles shrink and stop producing new hair over time. Hair thickness and texture also depend on genetics and ethnicity. People with straight hair often have round hair shafts, while those with curly or wavy hair have more oval or twisted shafts. The shape of the follicle influences how hair grows, affecting its overall appearance. Additionally, aging causes gradual hair thinning, as hair follicles produce finer and weaker strands over time. While 100,000 hairs may seem like a lot, each strand is incredibly delicate and requires proper care to maintain its health. Regular washing, conditioning, and a balanced diet rich in proteins and vitamins, especially biotin, vitamin D, and iron, can help keep hair strong and resilient. Despite daily shedding and the effects of aging, the human scalp remains an efficient system for producing and maintaining hair throughout most of a person's life.
If you could theoretically drill a hole straight through the center of the Earth and jump in, it would take approximately 42 minutes to reach the other side, assuming no air resistance and a perfectly symmetrical planet. This idea is based on the physics of simple harmonic motion, where gravity would continuously accelerate you toward the center and then decelerate you as you move toward the opposite surface. As you fall, gravity would pull you faster and faster until you reach the center of the Earth, where you would be traveling at your maximum velocity, about 28,000 kilometers per hour or 17,400 miles per hour. At this point, gravity would begin pulling you back in the opposite direction, causing you to slow down as you approach the other side. Without resistance, you would emerge at the opposite surface with just enough speed to reach the top, only to fall back down again in an endless oscillation, similar to a pendulum. However, in reality, this scenario is not possible due to several major obstacles. First, Earth's core is extremely hot, reaching temperatures around 5,200 degrees Celsius or 9,400 degrees Fahrenheit, which would make survival impossible. Second, the enormous pressure inside the Earth, especially in the inner core, would collapse any tunnel almost instantly. Lastly, air resistance, if not removed, would slow you down, causing you to lose energy until you eventually came to rest at the center of the Earth instead of reaching the other side. If we assume a more practical version of this scenario, where the tunnel is lined to withstand heat and pressure and all the air is removed to eliminate drag, then the 42-minute journey remains a valid theoretical calculation. This concept is sometimes referred to as the gravity train and has been proposed as a thought experiment for high-speed underground transportation. In fact, a similar principle is used in modern vacuum tube transport systems, like the proposed Hyperloop, where low air resistance allows for near frictionless travel. While drilling a hole through the Earth is far beyond our technological capabilities, the physics behind this calculation is an interesting demonstration of how gravity and motion interact on a planetary scale. It also highlights the fascinating, yet extreme possibilities of using Earth's gravity for rapid transit, if only we could overcome the many real-world limitations.
A year on Earth is not exactly 365 days. It is actually about 365.2422 days long. This extra 0.2422 days, approximately 5 hours, 48 minutes and 56 seconds, comes from the fact that Earth does not complete its orbit around the Sun in a whole number of days. Instead, it takes a little over 365 days for Earth to make one full revolution, which is why our calendar system requires adjustments to stay in sync with the seasons. To account for this fractional day, we use leap years. Every 4 years, an extra day is added to the calendar in February, making that year 366 days long instead of 365. This helps compensate for the extra 0.2422 days per year. However, because adding a full day every 4 years slightly overcorrects the difference, since 0.25 days per year is slightly more than 0.2422, additional rules are needed to fine-tune the calendar. The Gregorian calendar, which most of the world follows today, refines this system by skipping leap years in certain cases. Specifically, a year is a leap year if it is divisible by 4, but not if it is divisible by 100, unless it is also divisible by 400. For example, the years 1700, 1800 and 1900 were not leap years, but 2000 was. This rule ensures that the calendar stays aligned with Earth's orbit over long periods, preventing a gradual shift in the timing of seasons. Without this correction, our calendar would slowly drift out of sync with the solar year. Over centuries, summer would eventually occur in what we now call winter, and vice versa. Ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians and Romans, struggled with this problem before refining their calendars with leap years to maintain accuracy. Even with this system, minor variations in Earth's rotation and orbit still cause small discrepancies over long timescales. Scientists use atomic clocks and astronomical observations to make periodic adjustments, such as leap seconds, to keep our timekeeping as precise as possible. While we commonly think of a year as exactly 365 days, the reality is that Earth's orbit is slightly more complex, requiring these small but crucial corrections to keep our calendars aligned with the natural world.
A single grain of sand, though incredibly small, contains an astonishing number of atoms, roughly 100 quintillion. That's 10 to the power of 20, or 100 million atoms. This vast number is due to the minuscule size of atoms, which are the fundamental building blocks of all matter. Even the tiniest objects we can see with the naked eye are made up of an unfathomably large number of these microscopic particles. Most grains of sand are composed primarily of silicon dioxide, commonly known as quartz. This mineral consists of silicon and oxygen atoms bonded together in a repeating crystalline structure. Since oxygen and silicon are relatively small atoms, a typical grain of sand, measuring roughly 0.5 millimeter in diameter, can hold an enormous number of them. The exact number of atoms in a grain of sand depends on its size, composition and density, but for quartz, the estimate of 100 quintillion atoms provides a reasonable approximation. To put this into perspective, the number of atoms in a grain of sand is vastly greater than the number of stars in our Milky Way galaxy, which is estimated to be around 100 to 400 billion. In fact, if you compared the number of atoms in a handful of sand to the number of stars in the observable universe, which is estimated at around 200 billion trillion, the two figures would actually be in the same ballpark, showing how even the smallest objects at an atomic scale hold unimaginable complexity. Atoms themselves are composed of subatomic particles, protons and neutrons in the nucleus, with electrons orbiting around them. Despite being the fundamental units of matter, atoms are mostly empty space. If the nucleus of an atom were the size of a marble, the electrons would orbit at distances comparable to a football stadium. This means that the massive number of atoms in a grain of sand is made up of an incredible amount of empty space at the subatomic level. While we typically think of sand grains as tiny, their atomic makeup highlights just how intricate and densely packed matter is at the smallest scales. This mind-boggling number of atoms in a single grain is a testament to the vast complexity of the physical world, where even the most mundane objects are composed of an incredible microscopic universe of particles.
The human brain is incredibly efficient at processing visual information, capable of recognizing and interpreting an image in as little as 13 milliseconds. This rapid processing speed was discovered in a study conducted by MIT neuroscientists, who found that people could correctly identify images flashed on a screen for just 13 milliseconds, far faster than previously thought. This finding suggests that the brain can extract meaningful information almost instantaneously, supporting our ability to navigate the world quickly and efficiently. This remarkable speed is due to the brain's visual processing system, which is optimized for detecting patterns, motion, and familiar objects. When light enters the eye, it is captured by the retina, where specialized cells called photoreceptors convert it into electrical signals. These signals are sent to the visual cortex at the back of the brain via the optic nerve, where they are processed and interpreted. The brain does not analyze an image all at once, but instead breaks it down into different features, such as shape, color, and movement, before rapidly reconstructing it into a meaningful perception. The ability to process images so quickly is crucial for survival. In evolutionary terms, early humans relied on rapid visual recognition to detect predators, find food, and identify threats or opportunities in their environment. Even today, our brains prioritize processing visual stimuli related to faces, danger, and movement faster than other types of information. This speed is also what allows us to recognize familiar faces, read words at a glance, and react to fast-moving objects almost instantly. Interestingly, despite this speed, the brain does not simply take a snapshot of an image. Instead, it continuously predicts and fills in missing information based on past experiences and expectations. This is why we can recognize partially obscured objects or understand blurred images. Our brain reconstructs the missing details in real time. This predictive ability also plays a role in optical illusions, where the brain's rapid processing sometimes leads to misinterpretations. The discovery that the brain can process an image in just 13 milliseconds highlights the astonishing efficiency of our nervous system. It also has implications for technology, such as artificial intelligence and machine vision, as scientists aim to develop computers that can match the human brain's ability to recognize and process images in an instant. While computers are improving in image recognition, the human brain remains unmatched in its ability to process visual information rapidly and accurately with minimal effort.
The concept of zero as a number is a relatively recent development in human history, emerging about 1,500 years ago. While ancient civilizations had ways to indicate the absence of a value, such as leaving a space or using a placeholder symbol, the idea of zero as both a numeral and a mathematical concept was a major breakthrough that transformed mathematics and science. The origins of zero can be traced back to ancient India in the 5th to 7th centuries CE, where scholars such as Brahmagupta developed rules for using zero in calculations. Brahmagupta, an Indian mathematician and astronomer, was the first to write down rules for arithmetic involving zero, including operations like addition and subtraction. Before this, civilizations such as the Babylonians and Mayans used placeholders for zero in their numerical systems, but they did not treat it as a number in its own right. The introduction of zero was revolutionary because it allowed for more advanced mathematical operations, including algebra and calculus. It also made calculations easier, particularly in positional number systems like the decimal system, where zero serves as a crucial placeholder. Without zero, performing arithmetic with large numbers would be far more cumbersome, as seen in ancient Roman numerals, which lacked a true zero. Zero gradually spread from India to the Islamic world, where scholars such as Al-Khwarizmi and Al-Samawal helped refine and popularize its use. By the 12th century, zero was introduced to Europe through translations of Arabic mathematical texts. The Italian mathematician Fibonacci, known for the Fibonacci sequence, played a key role in promoting the Hindu-Arabic numeral system, including zero, which eventually replaced the cumbersome Roman numeral system. Beyond mathematics, the concept of zero had profound implications in philosophy and science. It influenced the development of calculus, pioneered by Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, and played a key role in the rise of modern computing, where binary code, using zeros and ones, serves as the foundation for digital technology. Despite its now universal acceptance, zero was initially met with resistance. Many ancient cultures struggled with the idea of nothingness as a number, as numbers were traditionally seen as representing tangible quantities. Today, however, zero is fundamental to almost every branch of mathematics, physics, engineering and computer science, proving that what was once a radical concept has become an essential part of modern life. thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed these incredible facts. If you found them fascinating, there's so much more to discover. Stay tuned for our next video, where we uncover even more mind-blowing facts about the world around you. You won't believe what's next.